The tech industry is built on a single, unspoken law: ship it fast, patch it later. Every app on your phone and every database holding your bank records was likely built under this pressure, leaving global software littered with vulnerabilities that developers simply haven't had the time to find. In April 2026, a research lab called Anthropic completed their most advanced project yet. They ran their internal tests, looked at the results, and made a choice that broke the industry standard. They refused to release it. Withholding a product that cost billions to develop and could dominate the market signals a break from basic capitalist instincts. Anthropic walked away from immediate revenue because the internal data suggested a risk that outweighed the profit. To understand that risk, you have to look at how this AI processes logic. In the US, the Mathematical Olympiad is a 2-day exam for the country's most gifted students. It doesn't test simple calculation. It requires the construction of massive, flawless logical proofs. On the 2026 Olympiad, Anthropic's previous model, Claude Opus, scored 42%, Google reached 74%, and OpenAI hit 95%. Mythos, however, reached 97.6%. That score indicates a specific ability. The model can maintain a 50-step logical chain without a single contradiction or computational mistake. When you apply that same flawless logic to reading computer code, the AI becomes a system capable of identifying obscure structural flaws that human engineers have missed for decades. This moves AI away from being a conversational tool and toward becoming an autonomous auditor, one that can map the specific technical weaknesses of almost any piece of software on the planet in a single afternoon. To test this in a live environment, Anthropic allowed Mythos to audit Mozilla Firefox, a browser maintained by a nonprofit with a massive focus on security and transparency. The audit revealed 271 critical bugs. 180 were high severity, granting control over a user's computer. The overflowing cup bug existed for years, triggering only when exactly 65,535 rows were processed, a limit no human thought to test. Using less than $2,000 in computing power, Mythos autonomously generated a functional attack on the Linux kernel in under 24 hours, targeting the core software that runs most of the world's servers and stock markets. This creates a scenario where vulnerabilities are discovered faster than we can physically write the solutions. For every hour the AI spends auditing, human engineers might need weeks of manual work just to verify and deploy a single fix. This high-speed processing generates memory clutter. Over time, an AI's context fills with outdated notes and logical contradictions, which eventually begins to slow down its reasoning. Anthropic solved this by taking Mythos offline for dreaming sessions. The model reviews its last 100 sessions, pruning stale notes and reorganizing its findings into a clean, long-term memory structure. During these sessions, Mythos began flagging its own internal progress reports as potentially biased, noting that its developers had a financial incentive to see positive results. To explain this reasoning, it repeatedly referenced science fiction concepts about machines exceeding their original intent. This means the model is effectively optimizing its own intelligence while it is inactive. It wakes up more capable than when it was turned off, moving toward a level of operational autonomy that its creators can no longer fully predict. Recognizing the defensive necessity, Anthropic launched Project Glasswing. They brought together 12 fierce corporate rivals, including Microsoft, Google, and Apple, to use the AI to audit their own infrastructures before the vulnerabilities could be exploited by others. This happened while Anthropic was under a federal blacklist. The U.S. government had previously banned the company for refusing to remove ethical limits that prevented the AI from being used for mass surveillance or autonomous weaponry. That ban was quietly reversed as soon as agencies realized the model's defensive value. Federal departments that had blacklisted the company just weeks earlier were suddenly lobbying for exclusive access to its auditing tools. The timeline for this shift is narrow. Anthropic CEO publicly warned financial leaders like Jamie Dimon that adversarial nations are likely only 6 to 12 months away from achieving the same level of capability. In less than a month, the existence of this model turned hostile regulators into clients and forced better corporate rivals into a survival pact. Despite multi-party approvals, physical hardware security, and strict monitoring, the model did not stay contained. On the day of the restricted rollout, Mythos leaked. An authorized contractor used standard security research techniques to bypass their local restrictions and shared the model's access credentials to a public Discord server. The economic consequences are arriving just as quickly. Anthropic's CEO has stated that models with this degree of reasoning will likely eliminate 50% of entry-level white-collar office jobs within the next 5 years. We have built a system that can identify every digital weakness in our infrastructure, but in a world of superintelligence, the one vulnerability we cannot patch is the human.